What up, super players? Today I got pretty much a meta analysis. What are the decks that are dominating at the tournament scene? What are the decks that are getting the W's over other decks? And that's what I'm pretty much gonna do today. I'm gonna give you guys a rundown of what are the decks that are pretty much obliterating. And let's start it off with the most broken deck there is, and that happens to be Captain Ginyu. Captain Ginyu is that deck that's not even fair at sometimes. If you open up Godly, you pretty much just won. Your opponent should just scoop up their deck and just leave, because this deck, once it takes off, it takes off. So first things first, we got Captain Ginyu, right? Captain Ginyu right here. He's an amazing leader. What he does is he has full control of his awakening ability and full control of the tempo of the game, because every turn you get to strike one of your lives, add it to your hand, and help you self-awaken over other leaders. And that ability will allow you to spam out Shigesh and pretty much bring in the Saiyan package, aka the vegetable package, which happens to be Kaba, Khalifa, and Kale. So the way this deck works, run it down real easy. This deck, all you gotta do is hit yourself, self-awaken, attack with your leader, draw a card, Shigesh into the Kaba, and then the Kaba plays you the Kale, and then plays you the Khalifa, and then into the Kale, and then you just rinse and repeat, and then use the overwhelm to grab you another Shigesh, and Shigesh into another Kaba, into a Khalifa, into a Kale, and then before you know it, in 3 turns you got a swarm of Khalifas and Kales, and your opponent's probably not even awakened yet, and then you win, because that's how this deck runs. It's pretty unfair, but there's still hope, guys. The meta will change with that new Colossal Warfare coming out. So stay tuned for the meta analysis, because it will be changing very, very soon. And that's this deck. Pretty broken. You got all sorts of ridiculousness. You got Planet Vegeta, search out Shigesh. And yeah, I don't even want to talk about this broken deck. Here's the deck list. If you want to make it, here it is. It's pretty unfair. And if you're the type of person that likes winning, play this for sure. And then next deck, same thing, it's just Mecha Frieza. Yeah, whoop-de-doo. Who would have known that being able to Shigesh into Kaba into all this is pretty darn strong? Well, now, what if you had a leader that could use extra cards for free? Yup, you got the Kale, you got the Kaba, you got the Khalifa, you got the spamming, and now you got the Cold Bloodlust for free, and you got the Flying Nimbus for free. And that's what this is. Pretty darn broken. Let's keep moving on, because these are the 2 decks that are guaranteed to get you W's. And then let's move on to some spicier meta. So what else do we got? We got Super Saiyan 3 Goku. If you're not into the whole Shigesh thing, here we got Son Goku. He's a Super Saiyan 3 version. What Super Saiyan 3 is, he allows you to pretty much start off with 2 energies in the cost of 2 of your life, which is very good, because starting off with 1 extra energy puts you at like 1 extra play above your opponent, and that can be very beneficial. And for that fact, we have a deck right here revolving around hit, because you're going to be able to play on turn 3, and then you get to see your opponent's hand, and being able to visually see your opponent's hand, you can calculate how much you need to go for game and such forth. So that's why we got this hit. Then we got obviously the red package. We got the Boo engine in there to go for the final hit. Boo. You can even go with triple strike for 1 blue energy, which won't be that hard. We got the spot removal with the overwhelm Mass Saiyan, and then the negates, and then obviously the Zeno button play if it all goes downhill. And that's this deck. It's another victory winner. You're gonna guarantee win. This competes with the Captain Ginyu. So if you're not trying to play Shigesh and you're still trying to play meta, here's Super Saiyan 3 Goku with the Boo engine and the chain attack, Zeno, explosion, reset the field. But like I said, Captain Ginyu and Mecha Frieza run Cold Bloodlust. So if you're trying to Zeno and get rid of all their vegetables, well, guess what? Good luck if they have multiple Cold Bloodlust, like back to back. It's gonna be very hard to counter that, but it's worth a try. And then that's that. And then let's move on to an even spicier deck. And we got the Mass Saiyan. Yeah, surprisingly, surprise, Mass Saiyan's actually kicking butt, and Mass Saiyan is that leader that is very good because it rushes your opponent down fast, and Mass Saiyan is a good counter against Captain Ginyu because of the fact that since Captain Ginyu is going to be striking himself to try to self-awaken, well, guess what? You just double strike them and then give them a critical, and then they're not going to have that much hand resource to be able to spam summon and pretty much keep the pressure going with the Shigesh. Who knows? You might even double strike critical one of their Shigeshes, but then they do still have that over-round time trunks that could get a Shigesh from the drop area, so they still have backup, and they do have Cold Bloodlust, but Cold Bloodlust doesn't really affect this deck that much because this deck's all about smacking you hard in the face and hopefully you don't survive. But if your opponent survives, then good luck with that. You're gonna have to deal with a bunch of Shigeshes and a bunch of Kabas and a bunch of critical kills. And this deck struggles from self-awakening, so good luck with that. You want to make sure you self-awaken with this guy. If not, you're going to get obliterated by any other deck. So that's the Mass Saiyan, and let's keep moving on to another leader. This is one of my new favorite leaders, and the reason Cell is coming up in the meta is to counteract anything that has the Veggie package. Because as easy as activating Cell's effect, put one card under him, pop a vegetable. That's what Cell does. He's like a parasite, just killing the vegetables that you're trying to pretty much grow in your garden. And the Cell's just in there like a snake, just like popping them, and obviously you're going to want to be popping the Kabas so they're not able to Shigesh into a Khalifa and whatnot. And on top of that, it's the Cell engine. It still does have a downfall of is suffering from Cold Bloodlust. So if you're playing against a Mecha Frieza, well, guess what? Cold Bloodlust the big old Cell, but guess what? You can still have the big Cell and keep the pressure going. Double strike 30,000 every other turn if your opponent does Cold Bloodlust it. So that's good too. And on top of that, you got Tien for more spot removal if they try to stall you out, which Ginyu really does like stalling out. All they do is just stall you out for the first 4 turns, and then they awaken, then they start attacking. But that's Cell right here, Ultimate Life Form, very good. And if you guys are trying to play the Cell engine, here's a very spicy deck that can get you quite a bit of wins. And let's move on to one last deck that's coming up in the meta scene, and that, shout out to Caleb, one of the ones that showcased this deck. This is pretty much a version of his deck. We have his deck profile on our channel if you want to see the original build that was kicking butt. But this is like what's coming up right now. It's a Frieza. Obviously, with the Frieza, you're able to play out that 7-drop Frieza that pretty much nullifies anything your opponent does. And if your opponent wants to do something, well, guess what? They gotta lose a finger every single time because they lose one of their lives and it doesn't go to their hand. It goes straight to the drop area. And for that reason, this deck is good. You want to objection, get your big old Frieza on the field. Your opponent can use any of their skills, and if they do, they're gonna be losing a life. And on top of that, you got the Ultra Instinct Goku to go for Victory Strike, Final Kamehameha Wave to the face, and good luck surviving a 45k power attack that you cannot negate. So this card and this deck right here is very good. Ultra Instinct combined with Frieza, and this is one of the most spicier decks that's coming up in the meta, and that's gonna be pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think about this meta analysis, and if you guys would like to see more of like updated meta, what's winning in the tournament scene, make sure to leave a comment letting me know that you liked this type of video, and I would continuously keep showing out what is coming up in the competitive scene. So like we always say, y'all stay super.